Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name is Dean, or as you know me, Twisty on this channel. Today we're going to be going over the Coach Career Mode portion of AFL Evolution 2, or at least in this video. I know I said today, but there's probably many videos you're seeing about AFL Evo 2 on this channel so far today. So, without further ado, let's get stuck into the Coach Career Mode of AFL Evo 2. So obviously when you come into your Coach Career Mode, you'll obviously be greeted by the new Coach screen. You'll be able to see what your team has got coming up. You'll be able to see a few of the results as well, scrolling through on the headlines down below, and you'll be able to see the form of your opponent as you go into this game. So let me just skip. We've got a bye in this first week of the MISC Community Series. The second week we've got the Pies, who also have not played a game, so we'll simulate through this one just so we can get a bit of respectability of form as we go into the season. So obviously the ladder is only reflective of the ladder throughout the regulation season. So a couple things you will notice in your inbox now is you'll have messages from players who have actually been playing quite well in the reserves, and they will be looking for opportunities to get selected for your big matches. You also get messages from your state league coach, whether that's VFL, Waffle, Sandful or NEFL, and you'll also get match reviews after each game where you'll get sort of a message saying who were your best 3 players in that win. If it's a loss, and you want to make some changes, you'll also get a match report of your worst 3 performing players. So a couple of other messages you'll get in the inbox as I simulated through a couple of games is you'll be told about any game milestones that happen for your players. As you can see here, Kane Lambert making it to 200 games this week. We've also got a new Debutante, so it'll tell you after a Debutante, obviously congratulations to that player for debuting. As I said before, you'll also get messages from your VFL coach if you're playing as the Tigers, I guess, and they want Ivan Soldo to be playing in the AFL side. I agree. Let's get the big Soldo in there. You'll also notice your staff look very similar to how it is in the previous game. Obviously, one of the most important things to do with your staff is making sure that you are getting the scouts. Level up your scouts because that's the best point in the draft, as well as your negotiators. And make sure you do it early on in the season because this will make sure that the players accept less money to stay at your club, so definitely worth investing money into them. One of the things that has changed between the 2 games is the ability to train your players at a different intensity. The first thing is obviously light training, where your players will be able to upgrade their skills at half the amount of speed of the normal rate. If you move the training intensity up to normal, the skill points are worth 1-to-1 ratio with a little bit of a chance of injury. Very rare that you'll actually get it. Maybe once or twice throughout the season you'll get an injury through training, or you can actually have your intensity as hard intensity, and that will give you double the amount of skill points for your normal rate. And by normal rate, I mean 1 skill point is actually worth 2 skill points if you train them at double the intensity. If, however, that seems a little bit too complicated to you, you can still go through each player individually and level up specific stats if you want to do that too. Another one of the very highly requested options for AFL Evo 2 that was absolutely put into the game was this Guernsey Numbers one, where you can actually change the Guernsey numbers of your player throughout career mode, or throughout your entire team, even throughout career mode. So as you get further and further throughout your career mode, as you get into 2030 or 2025, to be honest, that's probably enough to have a reasonable number of younger players and stars in there. You can change around your players and their player numbers. So how you do this, you just go up and down on the directional pad, or left and right, sorry, on the directional pad. You can see if there's a duplicate that the numbers will actually be yellow, so you'll be able to spot that out pretty easily as well. So let's put Shane Edwards back to 10. But if you do want to be able to change numbers, this is the way to do it. And with that Guernsey number feature, it is also featured in the in the base game as well. So you can be able to change players' numbers around throughout the year, and easy to do that if you really want to. The other part of looking at this here is we can go to the fixture, and you can actually change between the different leagues to see how everything's going in other competitions around the AFL or around the State League competition. So you can see the Waffle, Sandful, Neeful, the Under-18 Champs, the Under-18 League, as well as the AFL season and the AFLW season as well. You can see the results of what's been happening there. Another thing that has been added in here is while you can't view full match summaries, you can still see the 3 best players for each game. Now this is important because these actually correlate to the 3 Brownlow votes given out for that game. So if you really wanted to make your own Brownlow medal count, which I'm definitely going to be doing by the way, you can do that in career mode by or you can do that in any of the career modes or the competition modes by hovering over any game and seeing the best 3 players from the match. Now, much like fixture where you can change between leagues, you can also do that with the ladders. So you can see where your State League team is on the ladder. As you can see, my VFL Richmond team, 1 win and 1 draw after 2 rounds. So you can see how they're going as well and really push your position to see how well your team is doing respective to your AFL side as well. Now, in your job offers at the end of the season, I do want to point this out to everyone, so please make sure that if you are accepting a contract offer, you do look at what league it is for, because you can get offered for both AFL men's and AFLW leagues when you finish up your season. Obviously, being the primary leagues, the AFL and the AFLW, make sure you do pick whichever one it is you want to pick. So if you do want to coach Melbourne AFLW or St Kilda AFLW over St Kilda AFL men's, feel free to do that as well. So now that you've finished up your season, you are greeted by the Off-Season Hub Screen. Now this is one of 2 because the trade period is sort of 2 little different sections, and that's sort of what we wanted to show in your new off-season hub. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to negotiate your contracts. You want your list management to be at its finest, so you can either negotiate individually, or if you hit the options button, it'll actually automatically select your contracts for the players that it wants to select. Now this is obviously not the ideal way to do it. You'd be better off doing it individually, so you can actually select who you want to keep on and who you do not want to keep on. The next thing you'll notice is the free agency tab. This is obviously something that is new to the game. It still needs a little bit of tweaking, but at the moment, this is sort of how it works. Basically, you'll be greeted by pretty much every out-of-contract player from the end of the season. We are probably going to tone this down so you don't have sort of free reign as to who you're going to select. Now, their current salary is something that they will definitely not be accepting because they are free agents, so they do want a lot more money than what is actually listed there on the thing. A lot of the time, these free agents are generally older players, you know, the 30, 31-year-olds. So some of these will probably be retiring, and it does really limit the amount of players you can pick from. But if you are really keen on picking someone, then you can give that a crack. I reckon Scottie Pendlebury would look great in a Tigers uniform. He's currently on 394,000, but as you can see, he actually is demanding 480,000, so an additional jump of $100,000 from his current salary. So you will need to, you know, pay up if you really want to get these guys into your side. I mean, if you give yourself enough salary cap to do that, you can probably do that. The next thing you'll also have a look on this off-season screen is, especially on the right-hand side, we've got a lot of information for you to be able to view. You can see how many uncontracted players you've got. You can see your salary cap. You can see where your draft picks are. Obviously, I've had Richmond win the premiership throughout this thing, so my picks are 18, 36, and so on and so on. It'll also tell me how many trades you've done and how many free agents you've signed. Now, the other thing is you'll also be offered 6 trades throughout this first trade period, which you can do throughout as well. So to have a look at what those trades are, these are clubs offering you these trades. These will go to your inbox. So I'm going to go through them one by one, and you'll be able to see, I guess, how they work and it might give you a better understanding of how the trade system has worked, because this has also been something that's changed quite a lot, so that there's a lot more balance in how you have to trade for players now. So we've got a player-for-player trade here with Camden McIntosh being on offer for Leno Thomas. Probably not going to take that one up, so I'll just leave that be. Essendon is offering David Zaharakis for Nick Vlaston, so that's another fairly even trade, but I'm happy with my boy Nick Vlaston. Then Carlton want to do a pick swap. They want to give up pick 31 and 67 for pick 36 and 54. Probably academy points right there, but if they want to push themselves slightly down the order for the first pick anyway. So a bit bizarre from them, but again, a reasonably balanced trade. The Eagles want Hugo Ralph Smith, pick 36 and pick 72, and they want to give up a second rounder in 24 and pick 42. So second and third rounder for a third rounder, that's a fourth rounder, and a player. So again, another really reasonable trade. Port Adelaide want to move themselves up the order throughout their fourth round, so they want to swap reversal rounds. And the Eagles want Callum Coleman-Jones for and pick 72 for pick 42 and pick 60. So there are a lot of reasonable deals that you can get through there, and it sort of gives you an idea of what you need to offer to be able to get the deals done with other clubs. If you are wanting to get sort of a fringe player, you can probably do it for a second or a third round pick, but if you do want a really top-notch player, you'll have to offer up something really big to be able to get them as well. After you finish up with this screen, you've done all your contracts, you've done all your trades of your players. Now you can advance to the draft. Obviously, from here, you will not be able to pick up any free agents or keep any of your players, I guess. So make sure you've done all your contracts before you go to the next screen. Now, once you're here, people are like, Dean, this is the exact same screen. Why did you just send me to this again? Well, here's how it actually works. This is now the second sort of trade period, which is to reflect the real world as well. After that, trade and free agency period becomes the delisted free agency period, as well as the ability to still trade draft picks before the actual draft. So here you've now got delisted free agency. You can now see all of the other players who were no longer given contracts throughout any of the clubs. There's lots of players there. You can sort them by games played. A lot of them never got to play an AFL game, and you can see a lot of these guys who are super experienced are probably retiring, which is what it says here. You know, Stephen Martin retiring at end of contract. So that's why you won't be able to pick up those guys. But a guy like Nick Blakey, key forward, do you want to pick him up? Xavier Dersma, same sort of a deal. Do you want to pick him up? The reality is there's still going to be a few players on here that you might be able to get really handy to get yourself back in the thick of things. There are still some pretty good players that will end up in this delisted free agency pool. So if you want to pick those up as well, they're sort of not going to be asking for a heap more than what their demands aren't going to be super over the top either. So they'll be looking for a lifeline here in the AFL system, and you should be able to pick those guys up as well. As I said before, you can still trade players, or you can still make trades before the draft, and this is basically just to move up the draft order. So you can move around your picks however you'd like. So if I want to trade my first rounder and let's say my second rounder, so I've got 18 and 36. If I want to trade that for, let's say, Freo, or Freo's got pick 1, they're definitely not going to be giving me that. Let's go with the Gold Coast Suns. What have they got? They've got pick 3. Can I trade for pick 3 with pick 18 and pick 36? I'm a little worried that this is going to be accepted. No, it's not. So there you go. The Gold Coast Suns are insulted by this offer. And that makes me so happy, because it means that the system works. But anyway, that is it. And obviously what did I do here? I scouted a lot of players, which means that I get to see all the potential of these guys, and you can, or of a lot of these players. So make sure you are looking through all of this stuff as well. The scouts are very important to be getting your draft players sorted, and you can pick up, the type of players you need. Are they key forwards, key defenders, mid forwards, whatever. Make sure you pick whoever you want. This bloke, key forward, potential 95 to 99. Yes, please. We'll be taking him at the end of the first round. But that's pretty much it for all of the brand new stuff added into the coach career mode. I know this is probably a really long video, But I really wanted to explain as much as I could in as much depth as possible to give you guys the best understanding of why some of the decisions were made and all the things you can look forward to. So that's it for this video on AFL Evolution 2. You'll be seeing some more gameplay coming soon. If you've got any questions, make sure you just leave them down below in the comments section. Smash like if you enjoyed it. And until next time, I will see you all later. Goodbye.